Hello everybody, I've got the best surprise for you. Here's Lucy Durack, one of the happiest people I know, actually.
Oh gosh, I feel honoured.
I do always think that whenever I am with Lucy, I come away feeling very energised and happy, and I can only say that about a handful of people.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I really do. I do genuinely mean that.
Oh, thank you. That's so
Look at her smiley eyes, everybody. That's what I love. Anyway, Lucy has come up with this fabulous app with her friend Elise Mccann, and it's called Hey Lemonade.
Yes, it is. So it's like turning your lemons into lemonade.
It is amazing. So Lucy put me on it the other day, and so I've been listening to it before she came over. And so what it is, you describe what it is. It's an app that does this, and then I'm going to tell you how I felt about it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's a stress intervention app because Elise and I came about it because in 2020, of course, like everybody, we'd been handed some lemons. And
performing arts, because Lucy was Glinda in Wicked the very first time it came around, and she's done many other things, but that's how we met.
That's how we met. And I was playing Princess Fiona in Shrek at the time.
Oh my God, yes.
And of course that was shut down overnight, like all theatre and like most things. And Elise was working for Sarah Jessica Parker's company, Pretty Little Matches, I think they're called, in New York. And she had to come home straight away, and her mum was going through cancer treatment, so she was helping. So we were all having a bit of a hard time, and we were looking for things like additional support for the things that weren't serious, but were serious to us. And so we're not purporting to be a very big, serious mental health app like the Beyond Blues or a company like the Beyond Blue or Lifeline, who do such a brilliant job. But we are there for your everyday stresses, and kind of to normalise that we all have an everyday stress, quite frequently, and that's very normal, and that will pass. And so, but Elise and I had gone for a walk, not to get ahead of myself, and had a chat, and we were like, we'd gotten onto the meditation and wellness apps, which we love, but sometimes I was, changing Teddy's nappy or making a lunch or, vacuuming or something, and I was thinking, I'm pretty sure this is not how I'm meant to be doing my meditation. And I thought I need something just so quick, and occasionally I found them a little bit woo-woo. And they were just requiring like a large amount of time that I didn't have to sit with my eyes closed. And Elise and I had gone
can relate to that.
A chat. We'd gone for a walk and we'd had a chat, and we've been friends for a really long time. And at the end of it, we were like, see, this is what you need. I think you just need like a quick chat. So like you were saying, like when we chat, you just feel better. You come away and you think, you know what, like it's that sort of But of course, your best friend's not always going to be there in your pocket at all times of the day or night, or you're not going to always want to reach out if you're feeling overwhelmed at 3:00 in the morning or whatever. So we looked for this in app form, and it just didn't really exist. So like a pep talk or a stress intervention circuit breaker kind of app that was just short and sharp. So we've made Hey Lemonade, which is, all of our talks are about 3 to 4 minutes long, and they're all in relatable, uniquely written language, like when you're feeling FOMO, or when you need a G up before a big meeting, or when the people you love are driving you nuts, or when you have comparatitis, if you've been scrolling Instagram and you're like, oh, now I don't feel good about myself somehow. And you just got to remember what you do have.
Correct.
That kind of thing.
Things like that. So how that app works, everybody, this is my experience of it as a layman. So you download the app and you put in your things, and then it gives you all these options of how are you feeling today. Like there's one like my being nice to your thighs. I love that. I just listened to that before you came.
Nice, isn't it?
Yes, because that's my area that I think, oh God, I wish I had long, slim legs, you know. And so I was listening to that, and I thought that was good. But here's the thing that I love the most, everybody. So have you heard of the 5 languages of love?
No.
So there's this book that was written. I actually went to the Oprah show about this. I'm just trying to think of Gary, someone or other wrote the book. And the 5 languages of love are gifts, acts of service, touch, words of affirmation, and there's one other one, which isn't important right now. I mean, there are 5, but I can't remember them all.
Four's pretty good.
So Zoe and I are words of affirmation.
Yes.
Which means that you just have to say to me, oh, Megan, so good to see you, and I love your top, which I wore especially today.
Which I do.
But, stuff like that. So when I was getting ready to see you today, I thought I'll just pop on this so I can have a few more things to talk about. I was prepping for the whole little chat. And I found myself feeling really good. And Zoe and Dan, Dan's my daughter's husband, he often said, he knows that Zoe and I like our toenails.
Yeah.
And so if he wants to make us feel good, he goes, gee, your toenails look great today. Yeah, because we paint them rainbow and everything.
So nice.
And so what I associate this with is the same thing. And even if he says something, he might say, oh, gee, you two are great. And we just look at him, we know what he's doing, but it makes us feel great even though he's being sarcastic or whatever. So,
well, you know that it's based in truth. What's said in jest.
Yeah. But when I listened to your app today about all those pep talks, I found myself really feeling it, like feeling, I felt myself feeling excited and happy and
I'm so glad.
energized. And the procrastinating one, because I am a bit of a procrastinator.
I would never think that of you.
I am a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, I leave things right until, well, I don't always, but I can be known to leave things right up until the last gasp. So Zoe's a bit like that too. So I listened to the procrastinator one, and guess what I was doing while I was listening? And I didn't even realize, I started tidying up my bedroom and putting clothes away. Paul will be thrilled. So what you do, everybody, you go into the app, and then there's like a spinning wheel thing, and you can choose a topic or whatever, and then it will give you a list of different people, because you might like Lucy's voice or you might like Charlie's voice.
Yeah.
Charlie's a child who makes me feel fabulous.
Yeah, Charlie's done a beautiful job. We thought, because sometimes, the purity of a child giving you a talk, and Charlie's a real life child.
Or to play to your kids too. You could play that to your daughter.
Yeah, and so all of our talks are about 3 to 4 minutes long, but we've cut Charlie's talks down to be about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So they're even shorter versions. So they're actually kind of straight to the heart, and they're so beautiful. But we also have, that's exactly right. Like some days you might want Charlie, or sometimes you might want, Tony Armstrong has got such a kind of smooth, relaxed kind of voice, or Ben Law does a beautiful job, and
Maggie Beer.
Maggie Beer, we always say she's
like
a vocal
a friend,
cuddle, isn't she?
Yes, I felt like she was my best friend when I listened to her high five pep talk. I was like, yes.
She is incredible. She's an amazing woman, and she's just all heart. She's so beautiful. Or Jamila Rizvi, or Zinzia Kenyo, or Zoe Taraka. So we've got this wonderful guy called Chief Brabon, and Chief is an ex-SAS, ex-Navy SEALs trainer.
Yes, I was just listening to one of those. Yes.
And he's very hardcore, but he's also got a heart of gold, because we've chosen all of our voices to be people who are really trusted and just good, kind people with kindness and pragmatism at heart. Because we wanted it to be, it's a very practical app, so practical and pragmatic rather than it being a bit woo-woo.
Yeah, and it's not complicated to use at all.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. And
I love it.
Oh, so glad.
You know what? I've never been a person to have an app like that, and now I think I'll play it because I really enjoyed it so much.
That's very nice.
I loved it, everybody, and I know a lot of you come to my videos. I do a daily happiness video online.
Yes, I know. I love
every day. I started it in COVID, and then when I wanted to give up after 50 days, people go, no, and then I did 100 days. My mum passed away in that time and everything.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I kept doing them, but it also helped me because I get all this positivity back from it, and so this is kind of another thing for you guys who want to do that. Like, there's lots of people out there who write to me and say that, and I know they're going to love this app. And how much is it?
It's $11.99 per month, or it's more
Which is
reduced
like a couple
price
of coffees, everybody.
per year. There's a reduced price for the yearly, but we are going to be doing a giveaway in the next month, so a free yearly subscription for you and a friend. So happy if you follow us on Instagram, you can enter. And there are going to be some, there's various sales and stuff that might be coming up. Not to give anything away, but the thing I wanted to mention as well is that everything is scientifically sound within the app as well. So we've got a team of 4 psychologists, and every single talk is passed through the psychologists. So they're all they're all uniquely written talks, because we'd found the apps that were in existence that were kind of motivational, in the motivational arena, were great, but they were all like 20-30 minutes long, and they were usually the same.
Too long.
And they were
for
great
this
people,
purpose,
like Oprah and Barack Obama, amazing people.
Yeah.
But if you haven't got that time, then you might need something a bit shorter and sharper.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is. But we have some wonderful clinical psychologists. Chris Cheers, who's actually bringing out his own book shortly, which is going to be amazing. He's our kind of head psych, but we also have a coaching, solution-focused psychologist and children's psychologists and on board. So everything is passed. All of our writers do various drafts, and they're passed through our psychologists.
You have really gone into this, haven't you?
And we've done a CSIRO trial as well, which it went so well. It was such positive results. I can't say too much yet, that it's going to be published in a paper quite soon.
Really?
Yeah, so a peer-reviewed journal.
I would say I can totally understand how they got positive results. Everyone go and have a go today, because it's really you'll just feel fantastic. Like I can't tell if you can tell that I feel really up, but I do. I feel really good.
Yeah, well, thank you. I really, because obviously Elise and I have listened to every single talk multiple times, because we listen to them. We're there when they're being recorded, and then we're there for all of the various edit sessions and whatnot. And I always feel better. We have a couple of things that we do in every talk, which is a breath, because
I like that. I even did the breath with the
well, that's what I do too, because we get everybody who does the pep talks do a breath in and a breath out.
Did you do that out there? I bet
Sometimes
you did.
just doing that is enough. It kind of can shift you. Because I think it's all about kind of catching you before you spiral. It's for nipping the small stresses in the bud before they become bigger.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you just need like a quick chat with a friend to kind of change the course of your day. Yeah. If you're having a bit of a hard day.
There's even one for those of you who are procrastinating with exercise, and it's that the one from the couch. Yeah, going for a run or something.
Pep for non-runners.
What was his name? Who was the guy?
Who has written it, or the pet?
I've listened to one guy doing it, but there's
maybe
probably
Chief or Tony or Ben.
I think. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember, but every talk is offered in at least 3 different voices.
That's exactly right. And so here's a question I want to ask. So I listened to Charlie, and I listened to Maggie Beer, and I listened to someone else doing the high five. It was slightly different.
Yeah, well, that's
just very slightly different.
That's it. When people are recording them, we say, you know, if this doesn't feel authentic to you, change it around. So Maggie particularly had a few things. In fact, there are a couple of things that were related to food, and then of course, once you get to Maggie Beer, you know, things that she's got.
Maggie's an Australian chef, and she's got a whole range of ice creams and all. Yes, incredible,
and amazing
entrepreneur, and the whole lot.
She's really an Australian icon, isn't she?
She really is. I've met her. She's really nice.
Yeah, she really, and that is her genuinely. Elise and I were lucky enough to fly to Adelaide, and then we got a hire car and went to the Barossa and recorded, because Maggie famously lives in the Barossa Valley, and so we found a wonderful studio there and recorded with Maggie there, and she was just so gracious and generous and absolutely beautiful. But so we do say to our voices, you know, feel free to make it your own. And the writers are kind of there around if they need help, but
that's good.
Also, you know, sort of hand it over to us and the voices.
And so when people get the app, is it finite, or are you going to keep adding?
We keep adding 4 new talks every month. So actually, you were mentioning before about how hard you've had such a lot of grief.
I have had 15 people pass away in the last year. Isn't that crazy?
That is.
It is a lot.
You've done so well to get through as well as you have. But we have fairly soon, I think in the next couple of months, we've got a talk coming out when you've been dumped by a wave of grief. And
that's great.
It's a beautiful talk. So we have talks that are for when you're feeling something stressful in the moment. Or we also have like pep ups. So like you mentioned before, like a chill morning high five, or we have a double shot morning high five. And we have beautiful writers like Susie Youssef has written some of ours, and she's one of our beloved comedians for anyone who's not in Australia. I mean, she's a beloved international comedian. She's done a lot overseas as well, but we have some really comic writers, and then we have some more serious writers, but everything's kind of injected with a little bit of humour, because we found that, you know, we've got one talk, and pardon me, I don't really swear much, but we...
do you have to swear in it? I can't even imagine.
We usually give the voices the option to swear, and I do some of the talks, and I generally don't, but there is one talk that's called When Your Kid's Being Arseholes. And it's a beautiful talk written by Amy Tunig, who's an incredible academic writer, and she has written this beautiful piece, and it's kind of about how, you know, you and your kids, we're all transitioning into different parts of our lives, and it's hard. And then there's a moment in it where she says, you know, maybe you need a snack, an episode of Bluey, or a nap.
It's so true.
It is true.
Because when you have kids, there's all sorts of things that go on, isn't there? You know? It's
and
not all smooth sailing.
It's not. I remember Chris and I were once on holiday on Rottnest Island years before we had kids, and this toddler kind of came over and was being like just a toddler, but the dad came over to try and get the toddler, and the toddler was like, didn't want to come.
Cracked it.
Yeah, and he just looked at us and goes, sorry, such an arsehole. And I was so shocked at the time. But now that I've got kids of my own, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it.
That's so funny. That's so funny. What did your kids say when you said that?
My kids actually, I went on the news the other day. Jo Hall did a piece on Channel 9 on her.
I love her. Oh, I saw that. It was very good.
And my kids were watching it, and they were like, oh, particularly Polly. I don't think Teddy really understood, but Polly was like, Mum. I was like, well.
like everybody, everybody has arguments with their spouses. Paul and I might have an argument, I mean, we don't argue much, but you can have a time where you think, I just wish I had 5 minutes on my own, or, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so these talks are really fantastic to get you through all this.
Kind of like what you said as well. Sometimes you do just need 5 minutes on your own, and we always thought, you can step away from anything for like 3 to 4 minutes, and people aren't going to go, what's happened with me? If you step away for like 10 or 20, people might start being like, is there something wrong?
Go to the bathroom, soak yourself up, come back out.
But like 3 to 4 minutes, you can generally take 3 to 4 minutes without being a massive issue, and that's why we thought we'd keep it as sort of time efficient as possible, as well as, like we said, the sort of it's just for those moments, and it's not, we really want to normalize that everybody has stress. You're one of the happiest people on the planet, and you have stressful moments. 100%. I have stressful moments, and you just need something to kind of circuit break that sometimes.
100%. And so many, I have a lot of people out there, because I have experienced all those people passing away this year, or last couple of years actually. I find a lot of people will say to me that it's helped them seeing me be strong.
Yeah.
And so I would like to hear stuff like that, but I've also got people who are stuck, and I'm not saying that that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, I think that people need to hear that it's okay to cry. I still cry. Like, I can cry sometimes. I could be talking to you and just cry. Like, I never know when it's going to happen with, when I'm talking about my parents or Mel or any of these people who've passed away recently. It can happen and I don't expect it. But the thing is, you need to feel it. But it's also okay to smile, and it's also okay to feel good, and it's, all those things are okay too.
Well, and I think the thing is that all feelings pass. Like, no matter whether they're the best feelings or the worst feelings, they're all going to pass. And that's kind of something that is constantly relieving. And I constantly need to be reminded of that. Like, my brain won't hang on to that as a thought.
Yeah.
And so that's a very big part of all of the talks, have something along those lines. We actually have a lovely talk that Susie Youssef wrote called When You Can't Stop Crying, or something along those lines. And it's, in fact, probably my favourite version of that is Charlie's version.
Really?
And she says, I'm going to sit, if you can't stop crying, that's okay. I'm just going to sit here with you. And all we have to do is breathe.
That's nice.
And it's lovely. It's a really beautiful one. But, I feel like this has been so often I've needed this sort of thing in my own life where I felt really overwhelmed. Like, in fact, at the start when we started with Shrek, I actually went back to work when I'd just given birth to Teddy 5 weeks before. And I was...
God, that must have been hard.
It was quite hectic, and it was hard. It was really rewarding in a lot of ways, but it was really tough. And like one night, and Chris was doing so much of the parenting because I was working 6 days a week.
You had to be feeding. You would have had to be expressing.
So I was expressing a million times a day. And I... in the middle of the night, one night, I was just crying, and I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. And Chris was like, I'm so sorry, but I have to go to bed because I'm going to have to be up in about an hour to look after Teddy. And I was like, okay. So I was Googling like overwhelmed mother, like typing all my symptoms
and
in.
it's sort of been the perfect opportunity to go and listen to the app.
Overwhelmed mother, expressing, working, and then 5-week-old baby, all these things, and all the very important mental health companies like Beyond Blue and Lifeline came up, and I thought to myself, I don't feel suicidal. I just feel really overwhelmed, and I'd hate to take a line away from somebody who
sort
was
of like you
suicidal.
wanted to ring your mum.
That's it. But it was like right in the middle of the night, and so I ended up trawling through Google and finding this really this maternal health nurse line, and I called that and spoke to this really pragmatic nurse, and she was just like, how many times are you expressing? And I was like, well, I'm doing it before work, twice before work, and then on my lunch break, and then when I come home I do it straight away, and then I do it again after dinner, and sometimes before I go to bed. She was like, well, stop. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Like, just, kind of path of least resistance. Your baby's going to be fine if you're not expressing. It's better that your own mental well-being is looked after. And she was just really like, don't do that. Like, it was so nice to have someone who was qualified in a scientific way as well, and just be like, this is all you need to do. You're overcomplicating it.
How old were you then?
37, I guess.
Yeah.
And
it's so interesting. I had a similar moment when I was 31, and I was feeling really overwhelmed because I just started my plate painting business where I used to hand paint ceramic plates. This is my very first business. And I remember Paul had his maybe his 40th birthday, and I'd organised all that, and I had 2 little kids. And then when the birthday finished, I remember going into the kindergarten, dropping Zoe and Max off, and I read that book, The Giving Tree. Have you ever read that? Oh my God, it's so emotional.
I've got so many books I need to be writing
it's
down.
It's just a kid's book. It'll take you 5 seconds to read, but it was so emotional. And I cried. Like, I sat in the Kindle and I am crying to this book. Mind you, it is an emotional book, but, you know. Anyway, one of my friends saw me, and it was sort of, even though it's a sad book, it wasn't about, it was just, I don't even know why I felt like this.
Like a release.
Yes, and I drove home, and this girl followed me home, and she said, right, what is going on here? And I've always, I still thank her to this day for that. And she goes, what's going on here? What's happening? This isn't you. And I told her, I'm just feeling so overwhelmed. I've got like all these orders for plates, which take a long time. It's like my jewelry now. It's like, you know, I've only got one pair of hands to make all the things. And she said to me, right, put it in order. Just tell some people no, and tell some people they're going to have to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that, at 31, that's when I learned to say no, and it was brilliant. You should do a pep talk on how to say no.
We actually have one in there already.
See, I think that's important.
Amy Tooney wrote When You Need to Say No.
Yes.
And it is great because, you know, that is such a big part of life, and we always feel guilty or whatever, but you have to say no because, like Brené Brown says, you know, boundaries, clear is kind. Like, you have to have boundaries, and that's something that has taken me a long, I'm still learning.
Me too.
To put boundaries in, to sort of, you know, she always says the kindest people are the people with boundaries.
Yeah.
Because they're not overextending themselves and feeling, you know, stressed and eventually resentful or whatever.
Correct, because you don't want to feel resentful. Oprah tells a story about that. She says no is a complete sentence.
That's true.
How good is it? You don't have to go, oh, I can't because, you just go, no.
I'm not doing that.
But she tells a story about how once Stevie Wonder asked her to donate some money to some big charity, and she wasn't feeling it for some reason. And then she thought, oh, but he's going to hate me, and, you know, it's sort of in my world, and, oh, that's terrible. What will people think if I don't donate? And she thought, I don't like being asked to donate to things myself unless I might hear something on YouTube and go, I'm donating to that.
Yeah.
But I don't like to get an email in the mail going, please donate to this cause. I know I don't like that. When I raise money for things, I always give people the option.
Yeah.
You know, I just say, if you want to join in, join. I don't, anyway. So I think that's probably how she felt. She didn't want to be, because Oprah would get asked for money like 400 million times a day.
I can only imagine. And
so she said no, and he was fine. And they're still friends, and that's all good.
I think that's true, isn't it? Yeah. You have to, we actually got one talk, it's like when you need to remember how to listen to your gut. Because I think that's it, isn't it? Sometimes it's just not right for you in your life, in this moment.
Correct.
And that's fine. There's nothing, that's absolutely fine. And you have to be true to yourself, don't you?
You really do.
Like they say in Legally Blonde, being true to being true to yourself never goes out of style.
That's her character. I love it. I think they're making a new Legally Blonde movie.
I just saw I haven't heard that. That's very exciting to me.
Yeah.
But I saw Reese Witherspoon and who was it? Ashton Kutcher maybe is doing a rom-com.
When's
It looks
that?
amazing.
We need a rom-com. We haven't had a good one for years.
I know, and she's so good at rom-coms. So I think that it looks really good.
Really fun.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. That looks lovely.
Oh, anyway, everyone, we've talked for so long, but I was so excited about this app that I wanted to share it with you because I know a lot of you will love it. And I'm not getting paid for this. In fact, I asked Lucy if we could do this talk because I was so excited by her project. So this isn't like a sponsored thing, or it's a friendship thing because I love what she's doing and I love supporting things like this. It's so good.
Oh, I appreciate it. And
Elise, hello out there, Elise.
Elise is incredible.
They're partners. It's just that Elise lives in Sydney and she couldn't get here today. We wanted her here, but she couldn't be
another one down the track.
I know.
Yeah. Elise is. Her brain is so incredible. In fact, Elise can't be here because she's starring in some Barbara Streisand concerts with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra today that are on in Sydney, and then there's some in Brisbane and then some in Canberra left. And I saw the Melbourne version. It was incredible. She was so good. Yeah. So, and Elise, in case you don't know, Elise was our Miss Honey in the Australian production of Matilda.
God, that was good, wasn't
Have
it?
you seen the new movie of it?
No, is it good?
Yeah. My kids are obsessed with it.
Is it on Disney Plus or something?
It's on Netflix, and we watch it on a loop in our house. I'm
going to watch that.
It's really good. You'll like it.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Hang on, before we go, because I know Wicked fans will be watching this. Wicked movie.
Can't wait.
That's my God.
Production now, I think.
Yes, because I'm friends with Stephen Schwartz, who wrote Wicked, and I became friends with him because of doing all these interviews with these guys over the years for Wicked. Isn't that bizarre?
And do you know what I love is that they're going to make 2 movies. So
I know, but I don't understand that.
Well, I always think at the end of Act 1 with Defying Gravity,
yes.
I used to think, I wonder if anyone who doesn't know the story thinks that's the end, because it kind of goes, she's going to defy gravity, great.
Yeah. Yes.
But of course, then you come back and there's a lot more to the story.
Do you think that's where it'll
I reckon. That would, but
I know he's writing some new music for it and stuff. And so when I email him, because he emails me on my birthday every year.
Does he?
It's so lovely. So nice. He's honestly, you've met him.
Yeah.
Isn't he just so, oh my God. You should
get
him to do a voice.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Stephen
Wouldn't
Schwartz.
that be
would
amazing?
You like to be a pep
I'm going to
talker,
tell him, hopefully seeing him in February. I'm going to tell him about this. Because he was going to be a psychologist. Did you know this? So here we go. I'm starting up again.
That makes sense, though, doesn't it? Like, because he's so deep and he's got such a connection, a deep connection to how humans feel.
Yes.
And he's able to express it through music.
Unbelievable. He always says to me, how's Max? How's Zoe? How are the kids? Like, remembers everything.
Yeah.
He's so lovely. But when, it was after he wrote Godspell and it was so successful, and then he felt a bit like he probably needed this pep talk, pep lemonade, hey lemonade, and he was feeling like, he thought, oh God, can you do it again? Like you did Wicked, you probably thought, can I do it again for another, will it work?
That's it. We have a pep talk called Fuel You Past Your Peak.
Yeah.
Sometimes in your life you think, maybe that was it.
Yeah, but it's not, because there's always new things.
Always evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
And lucky he didn't stop then.
I know, but he was going to be a psychologist.
Wow, that's amazing.
Or a psychiatrist, one of the two. I don't know which one he wanted to be, but I often think how good he would have been at that. But isn't that interesting? Oh my God. I love imagining things like that, and then they happen.
I always think that that would be so incredible.
Oh my God.
I always think people like Stephen Schwartz and my friend Matthew Robinson, who writes music, who also knows Stephen, people who are such brilliant, and any great musical theatre writer or music writer, I always think, wow, thank you for articulating my feelings better than I can articulate them myself, and then putting them to music.
Yeah.
So good, isn't it?
It's so lovely. When he wrote For Good, do you know how that was written?
It was his daughter,
yes.
wasn't it? He asked his daughter how she would feel if she had to say goodbye to her best friend.
Isn't that great?
It's so beautiful. And that
I
song,
love that.
I have never felt sick of that song ever. And I did.
Oh my God. I'm having it at my funeral, everybody.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
You'll have to sing it. I'm going to be 100, so you'll have to be like, how old are you?
40. So I'll be...
What are you now? You're 40
My
now.
maths is
so
terrible.
You'll be 75. You'll still be around. So, at least you'll be there.
I'll be warbling.
Yeah. But it is such a beautiful song, isn't it?
It's so beautiful. I have sung it at a few memorials and funerals.
At Rob Guests.
And it's because I played Glinda for 1,300 performances.
Holy cow. Could you still remember it if you had to get up there now?
I don't know. Well, in between the first and the second sort of big seasons I did, then Susie was playing Glinda. Susie got sick for the opening of the Singapore season.
Oh, I remember that,
And got just a really bad head cold. And so Bernadette Hayes, who was our executive producer, called and she was like, can you get on a flight tonight?
Hope you charge lots of money for this.
I was the same. I was like, I just wanted to, and it was like nearly Christmas time, and I was quite sort of free. But I said to Chris, I called him. I was with my friend Jess Murray. I was like, quick, can you get our suitcases out of our storage unit? So I quickly went and grabbed them, and I packed on. I'd never been to Singapore, and so I packed all my cardigans. You're never going to need a cardigan in Singapore.
And your hair goes crazy.
But I was like, and I packed my script and score, and I pretty much got on a plane within a couple of hours, and then. And I hadn't done the role for a number of months. And I thought, gosh, am I going to be able to remember it? Yeah. But the second I put on the Glinda dress, it was like, that was the muscle memory. And I was like, oh yeah, everything came back.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it hadn't been that long.
Do you do you find it easy to memorize things? Because I honestly would find it so hard.
No, I'm not one of those people who's super quick. Like I did a couple of stints on Neighbours last year and the year before.
Oh yeah.
And it was really fun. I always worried though that I was the demise of Neighbours shortly after that. But it's coming back, so that's good. Yeah. But like I'd look at some of the people who've been on Neighbours for a really long time. They wouldn't even look at their lyrics, their lines until that morning. Whereas I am not that person. But I think if you did long running television like that, you'd get quicker at it. But
that'd be my greatest fear. I can talk like this and waffle on, and I'm not scared of being on a stage or any of that. But I am scared of being on a stage with a rehearsed thing that I would have to know by heart.
Yeah, but do you know what the funny thing is? And Gemma Ricks and I always talk about this. She was Elphaba. Gemma was our Elphaba, and she's just about to do the Singapore season of Frozen as Elsa.
Oh wow!
But Gem and I would always go, because you need to talk about these things. you'd learn the show and you'd do it for, I don't know, a few weeks or a few months, and then it's like the knowledge of the lines go from your short-term memory. I don't know the technical,
whether this is
actually, but it feels like it goes from your short-term to your long-term.
Yes, like how we can rip out songs from
like
years
you can
ago.
drive, you can just drive home without thinking, oh, how am I going to get home?
That's weird.
And it is weird, and it means you have to really stay in your game so you don't get complacent. Like, you know, and think, be singing like popular and thinking, have I defrosted that meat? Oh my gosh, get back in. But then if you think too much, like really think too hard, then you also can sort of cheat. You know, your brain can start playing cheeky tricks on you and be like, do you really know what's coming next?
Yeah.
Even if you've done it, you know, however many times, it can get really stressful. But I always found in that scenario, if anyone's doing that, if you can do something physical, like at the start of Act 2, when I'd sing Thank Goodness and I'd hold onto the microphone stand, if I felt that, I just push the mic. I just do something physical with my hands, and it would just get me a little bit out of overthinking it in the moment.
That's interesting. God, I wish I could see you in Wicked again. It's coming back soon in Sydney, everybody.
August of this year, quite soon actually, in Sydney.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Oh my God, I can't wait. And I think they're having, well, I don't know, but I believe they're probably going to have people who we've never seen before, like you and Amanda.
That's what I imagine too. I'm so excited to see.
Because that's exciting to get some new.
It's just so thrilling because I know what, it would totally change my life for good.
Yeah.
And I know that
and mine.
The same. Yeah,
it changed my life.
A new company of people. I can't wait to show Polly too, because I know she's going to love it.
Yeah. Oh, she hasn't seen it.
No. Well, she was in my stomach I played Glinda until I was 5 months pregnant with Polly.
Wow.
Yeah. So I always wonder if she's gonna have any kind of
memories.
I don't know. You know they say you can play music to your unborn baby.
Max does that. Our kids, and I did it with Max, and it really works.
Well, I always thought that because I'm still very close friends with Gem, and obviously I was playing opposite Gemma 8 shows a week, and or 6 shows a week because Gem was doing 6 shows at that time. But you know, I wonder if Gemma's voice is really soothing to Polly or anything like that. So, you know, so far, I mean, Gemma's voice is soothing to anyone anyway, so there's not really any way of testing it out.
Oh my God. Well, now all the Wicked fans have had a whole, like, extra bonus.
Sorry, I've ended up chatting a bit much about that.
No,
it's always one of my favourite topics of conversation.
I know, but that's because, I mean, this is how we met, and this is how I really started doing videos. Luckily, when I, asked could I do a backstage at Wicked, it was only because I'd been backstage at Wicked in New York, and I thought that'd be kind of an interesting video. I wasn't a musical theatre person back then. Yeah. Now, I'm like this crazy. I'm going to 4 shows in New York. I can't wait.
Oh my God, what shows are you going to see?
I'm going to the Michael Jackson one.
Oh yeah,
I've heard
that's good.
I'm going to Kimberly Akimbo.
Okay, great.
And which is apparently amazing. I'm going to, what else is on at them? What else am I seeing? They're all ones I really want to see.
Exciting. You know more about this sort of thing than me these days. I'm a bit out of the loop.
I had this friend Matt who recommended. Oh, you know Matt Chekmenko?
Yeah.
So I wrote to him and I'm going, Matt, I want to go to these shows, and he's going, okay. I'm going to the Leah Michelle, Funny Girl.
Oh,
he goes, and I said, there's some front row. He goes, grab it. And I'm like, isn't front row going to be too close? So then you know what he did? He sent me a photograph of one of his friends who had sat in the front row, and you could see that the stage was not up high, and I thought, okay, front row's good. He was Matt, you were amazing.
Matty Jackawenko.
Oh,
such
amazing.
a legend.
And then I said, I want to go to this show, and he goes, no, don't go to the front row for that. You need to sit back because the thing pops out of the stage and you won't see anything.
He is such an expert.
And Juliet, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that will be beautiful.
Yes. So that's the one he said, don't sit too close to the front.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. Okay, cool.
So that was great. I
know. That sounds like a great.
Oh my God,
it's
gonna be, yes.
Chris and I did that when we went to New York. We saw like every moment we possibly could see a show. We did.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to some TV shows like what's her name, Drew Barrymore and The View. I've got tickets to The View.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, I like doing that.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
Have a TV audience thing like Oprah.
Yeah.
I can't see her.
Well, we don't really do that much in Australia, so we don't really have much opportunity for that, do we? I remember going years ago and being in the audience of Rove Live, and that was really fun.
Oh, yeah. And Hey Hey It's Saturday, did you do that?
No, I actually went on Hey Hey It's Saturday as a guest when they did a revival.
Oh, yeah.
Now quite a few years ago, but when they were like, we're going to do it.
That show, wasn't it?
I ended up being a judge on Red Faces. It was really fun.
How cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, there you go. Musical theatre fans, you've had an extra bonus. But please, everybody, go and check out Hey Lemonade. Hey Lemonade. I'll write it down here, and you can. It's an app, and you go to it and you just type it in App Store. Do that, and it's honestly going to make you feel so good. And it was way more exciting than, like, I thought it was a great idea, but when I put it into action and listened to it, I went, oh, that's so good.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to listen to a whole lot of them this afternoon. I'm going to make some jewelry. Actually, I'm learning to do a new program, but I'm also going to be making some jewelry. So I'm going to listen to all these positive things because I believe that when I make jewelry, because everyone says to me, why don't you get someone to help you? And I'm like, because I want my energy in the jewelry.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
So that's why I don't give it to everyone else, because I want people to have good energy. So go and get Hey Lemonade, everybody, and I hope you got to the end. If you got to the end of this video,
well done.
I would like, well done, but I would like to see 5 red high heel shoes like the ruby slippers.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Emojis, there is one. Or, yeah, and a rainbow.
Always a rainbow.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.